We are now about to embark on a thought-provoking journey as we delve into the world of technology and its impact on our lives through this insightful panel discussion on prolonged influence of social media and gadgets among children. Our esteemed panelists will shed the light on the complexities of this topic and provide valuable insights. So sit tight, stay engaged, and let's explore the evolving landscape of technology together.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome. Today we have our four panelists from different professions to discuss the topic prolonged influence of social media and gadgets among kids. We have our psychologist, Ms. Zuni from Qatar, teacher from Endeavour International School, Ms. Mehja, our scientist, Ms. Nazra from Apple, and finally, our homeschooling mom, Mrs. Alia from Abu Dhabi. And a warm welcome to each one of you. So, what are we waiting for? Let's begin. We are going to start with our psychologist, Ms. Zoni, who has been in this profession for around 12 years in Qatar. Welcome, ma'am. So, can you tell us, from your perspective, how does prolonged social media and gadgets use impact the psychological development of children both positively and negatively? What is your opinion?
Well, the good news is that some social media platforms and gadgets can boost creativity and communication skills. And of course, children can connect with their friends and family. But don't even get me started on the whole social comparison thing. They see all the perfect lives on Instagram and start feeling like their own lives are not good enough.
So that was Ms. Zoni who gave us her point of view. Now let's move on to our next panelist, our teacher, who has been working in Endeavour International School for over 6 years. Hello ma'am and welcome to the show. So ma'am, in your experience as an educator, how has the increased use of gadgets influenced the classroom behavior and academic performance of the students?
Let's make one thing clear. Gadgets help students to learn about new things with the help of interactive tools. On one hand, they get access to a ton of info, like a portable library. And then we have platforms like Google Classroom, Zoom, which can be completely relied upon for teaching, especially during a crisis. For example, during COVID. But on the flip side, it messes with children's attention span. Like once they get used to quick videos and instant stuff, sitting through a whole lecture feels like forever.
Yes, during COVID-19, we saw how useful these digital platforms were. And now we have got our homeschooling mom of a 9-year-old kid who has been teaching her from grade 1. Hello ma'am and welcome to the show. So, could you tell us how you manage gadgets using your homeschooling approach?
Oh, absolutely. It's like we become the tech wizards of our living rooms. While homeschooling, we integrate technology thoughtfully using educational apps and online resources. I love that I can tailor lessons to their pace and interest. It's a struggle to keep them focused, and we should set clear limits on screen time and also encourage outdoor activities and face-to-face interactions to form a good education.
Yes, ma'am. What you said is true. Limit on screen time and encouraging outdoor activities. I agree. So, saying that, we are moving over to our last panelist, our scientist, Ms. Nazra, who has been working with Apple since 2020. Hello, ma'am, and welcome to our show. So, tell us, from your point of view, what do you suggest about the mental effects of excessive gadget use and social media exposure in children?
Oh, totally.
It's like they're born with smartphones these days. It wouldn't surprise me if excess use leads to mental health problems as they're bombarded with all this info. And not all of it is rainbows and unicorns. And also, excessive screen time is associated with development delays among children. It leads to sleep disorders, addiction to social media, and mental issues such as loneliness and even image issues.
Thank you, Ms. Nazra, for your valuable input. And thank you to all of our other panelists too. So now we know the pros and cons of the influence of social media and gadgets among kids. Now we need some advice from our panelists as how to tackle the negative effects of social media and gadgets among children. So first, let's ask our psychologist. What advice would you give to the parents and educators to stop children being influenced?
Well, maybe promote some offline hobbies, get them into sports, art, or reading. You know, stuff that does not involve screen.
Thank you, Ms. Zoni. How about you, ma'am? What advice would you give to parents?
Well, the bottom line is we should find the right balance between tech and good old-fashioned teaching. If with careful monitoring and educating students properly about online safety, then yeah, I think technology can be a game changer.
That is very true. Careful monitoring is a must when students use social media. Going over to our homeschooling mom. How about you, ma'am? What is your advice to other parents?
Well, I could give some tips that I have been doing with my kids. One, we try to have open communication about privacy, security, etc. And then I try to find a balance between tech and good old books. And finally, to search for activities. My God, that's the real challenge. The gazillion resources available will surely help us, but we have to know whether it's apt for the content being taught.
Thank you, ma'am. So parents who are into homeschooling, please take these points into consideration. And finally, moving over to our scientist, Ms. Nazra. How would you advise, ma'am?
Well, I guess it's all about balance, like set some screen time limits, encourage real life connections, and teach them to take those Insta perfect posts with a grain of salt. I mean, my advice is quite similar to the rest of the panelists. Whatever it is, always monitor the quality of content because these can have consequences on a kid's mental health.
Thank you, Ms. Nazra, for your valuable comments regarding the influence of social media and gadgets from different perspectives. Well, of course, it offers valuable resources, but also presents challenges related to distraction, comparison, and privacy concerns. So here's to raising techie-savvy but mentally sound kiddos. Thank you so much to all the panelists for their valuable insights on the topic. It was great to have you all here with us. So until next time, it's me signing off.